So you might be wondering why the use of tape rule in this video. Do I want to sew a cap for myself? No, I'm not sewing any cap. So the purpose of this tape rule is just to reinforce or bring back to our knowledge that the shape of our head is not the same. It's not the same. So for every beginner, when you are cutting or dividing through hair, put into your mind that the shape of the head is not the same. So most especially when you're doing a all back cornrow, that all when we call it all back here in Nigeria, I don't know if that's what it's being called elsewhere. So all back cornrow is when you weave your hair all through the back. So when you're doing that, some beginners, when they're doing that, the hair go either through the side, not fully straight. So the reason behind this is because you are not putting into consideration that the shape of your head are not the same. So when you put that into consideration, you will know that when you get a particular place, okay, this is the explanation now. From your forehead to the middle of your head, it is wider. So from your skull to your neckline is kind of smaller. So definitely when you're cutting through your hair, when you're cutting your hair through, you will know that you will not um you will not cut from your skull to the neck to your neckline the same way. So for a beginner, when you want to do a cornrow or back, there are two ways to divide through. Is either you divide from the front or you divide from the back. So this is I will advise you divide from the back as a beginner to get a perfect straight line and perfect two equal halves of hair, because the dipping part of your neck helps you to get the perfect line or perfect center of your hair. So as you can see, I'm cutting also, showing you also from the back how to do this. And I also prefer cutting from the back or dividing through from the back because it helps me to get a perfect center part or two equal halves of the hair in a perfect line. So that's it. So you need to put this into consideration, and like I mentioned earlier, the shape of our head is not the same. So when you're cutting through your hair, when you're dividing, you want to do any cornrow, you know that from your forehead to your middle head is going to be a bit wider, while from your skull to your neckline, you will tend to reduce the size of hair you are cutting. So we see that along the line as we continue. So just keep on watching, and I hope this you get more knowledge, or you get something, one or two things from this tutorial. So now another thing, before you start dividing your hair, you have to first use your eyes to divide through. See what I'm doing right now. I intend to make 10 pieces of hair. So on each side is definitely going to be 5, 5. So you have to use your eye to divide through before you start dividing any hair at all. If you just go in straight with your cotton comb without dividing through the hair, you will not actually get the perfect size, and you will definitely not get the perfect size of the hair sizes. So you need to divide through with your eyes that, oh, if I cut one out of this, would the remaining one be up to 4? And will it be equal sizes? And like I mentioned, and another thing to note is that the middle part of our hair is the fullest part of our hair. I don't know if some other people don't have this kind, have another type, but mostly the fullest part of our hair is the middle part of our hair, and the most free part of our hair is the one beside our hair. So when you're cutting or dividing through hair like this and you're doing a cornrow, make sure you don't cut the center part of your hair too full, because it's fuller. So you have to make sure you reduce it a bit, and you will divide the one by your hair a bit wider, because by the time you weave it, it's going to be tinier. So just as you look through, you use your eye to cut through at the front part of your hair, you do the same thing for the back. And the purpose of this is to know if the hair will fit in, the remaining 4 hair will fit in the what is remaining at the back of what you cut. I don't know if you understand the grammar I'm saying. So just after I've divided one out of it, the remaining hair is supposed to be 4. So the back of this hair, the forehand of the hair must fit in. So you have to use your eyes to cut through both the front and the back view of your hair to get the perfect sizes of the hair you are weaving or you are cornrowing. So this is the basic tips on how to get a perfect all back or perfect cut. So this is applicable to any style you want to do. Whenever you want to make any style, you use always most stylists. When you see them moving the hair right, moving it left, it's not just because they want to do any drama. The purpose is to make sure that they are getting the accurate weight in their hand. They will feel the weight of the hair, and also look at the rest of the hair. Will it be equal sizes by the time I do this quantity of hair for this first one? So those are the things you use your head and your eyes to do calculation before you start weaving. So it's more than just dividing through the hair. It's about calculating what you are cutting or what you are dividing, what you intend to weave. So that's another basic tip. The first one is know that the shape of your hair is not the same. Your head rather is not the same. Two, always use your eye to divide through. No, two, if you're doing all back, this is for all back, divide your hair into two equal halves and start from the middle. Don't start from the side. As a beginner, don't start from the side. Even some pro, for you to get a perfect all back, most especially when you're adding an attachment, because when you add an attachment to your braids, your hair, it gets bigger. So you have to consider making the hair to all tucking. So let me jump, I'll explain further. So before you do your cornrow, you need your three fingers, your thumb, your index, and your middle finger. Those are the three fingers that will do the work, both on your right and on your left. I will explain what the three fingers do as we proceed. So let me go back to the point I was mentioning earlier. Number one is know the size of your hair. Two, divide your head into two equal halves. Start from the middle before, if you want to do all back, don't start by the side. Three, know that the middle hair is fuller than is the fullest part of your hair. So you must consider the way you cut the hair. It must be a bit reduced. You must feel the weight in your hand. Three, use your eyes to divide through. I believe that's 4 or 5. Sorry. Use your eyes to divide through before cutting or before dividing your hair at all. As in before dividing the first half of your hair. So the number of the hair you want to do, the number of the style you want to do, count it and use your eyes to divide through. If you for you to get the perfect sizes for each cornrow, you divide through both the front and you also go to the back to use your eye to divide through at the back so that you will know if the hair will fit in by the time you get to the back. So that is it. So now coming back to this use of this three finger. First, our index finger, mainly looking at what I'm doing, is the finger that pass through, divide the hair. It helps you divide the hair into three. Also help you to pick hair as you are proceeding to the back. If you look at the way I'm weaving this hair, you will see that my index finger and thumb are picking hair as you are going to the back. Then the middle finger, look at the index finger, look at this. I'm not just going to hold the hair, the one in my hand, the strand. As I'm going to the back, I'm holding the strand, and at the same time, picking hair along as you're weaving to the back. So that's how you make your cornrow. That's the difference between a cornrow and an individual braid. So cornrow, as you are proceeding to the back, you recline your hand. Your hand is not going to stand. So as you are weaving, you move your hand backward, then pick hair on each side as you are moving backward. So for the index finger, the middle finger, as you can see here, is to press the hair down. So if you can see my middle finger here, it's pressing the hair down. The purpose of pressing the hair down is to help you achieve a straight hair, a straight cornrow. So if you don't press it down, one side might bulge out. It might go zigzaggy or something like that. So you need to use your middle finger to press down and your index finger to pick. Your index finger and your thumb do the picking of the hair. So that's the major function of the three fingers. If you understand the function of your three fingers, it will be easier for you to do your cornrow. Can you see my thumb is behind and my index is at the front to pick the hair? So, and your middle finger is pressing down the one you are holding before. So that's how you do the cornrow. I hope this explanation is not confusing. If you have any question or you don't understand, kindly drop your comments in the section box. I will definitely respond to it the moment I see it. So I will I will stop talking for now for you to continue watching. If there be any need to explain anything further, I will explain. Like this. Make sure you weave your hair to the end of the neck before you raise your hand to avoid